To me, it wasn't no big deal. Because again, like I say, during my younger years, um, to start off that I can remember, living in Michigan, we were around other people besides just black people. Um, my mom and grandmother worked for white people. I babysitted for them. So the adjustment, it really wasn't a big deal. And then once we got moved out on the south side, again, where we lived at, in the immediate area, it was blacks. But basically, if you went a block over, it was white. So some of those kids used to come over and play with us too. So for me, myself, it wasn't that much of an issue. Um, Back when they had to remember the Titans and all of that stuff, that was a mess. It wasn't the kids that was doing all of this fussing. I mean, there was some in there, but it was mostly the adults. And in my opinion, and I don't know if anybody else will agree with me or not, and I personally don't care, it was the white people. They did not want to integrate. I can understand the things with the coaches and all of that stuff like that, but it was more of the adults than it was the kids. Now, of course, like I say, there was some incidents, between all of us, but the big blow up, the way the movie and stuff was, it wasn't, it was the grown-ups setting a bad example for the kids. That's basically what it was. I just told my son the other day that being one of the games that we went to, because like I say, back then I was on the drill team, was when we played Fort Hunt. And I will never, ever forget it. We won the game, of course. But the people there didn't like the idea that we won the game. And I remember they were throwing rocks, they threw eggs, they did everything. And I remember they just pushed everybody on the bus. Band, football player, whatever you were, you get on the first bus that you could get onto. And the coaches and stuff actually had to go back and get the football team equipment and clothes and stuff because they just threw us on the bus and we got out of there. And I will never forget that. And I told my son, and I shouldn't say this, but even though Fort Hunt now is an elementary school, I still don't like Fort Hunt. I will never forget that. Eggs, rocks, bricks, whatever they could find, throwing it at the bus. It was a football game, not a riot, but they made it into basically a riot. So I will never forget that. But the adjustment, no big deal. No big deal. Like I say, back when I was growing up, if you had uneducated parents, most of the what they call it, domestic work, that's what the women did. You either stayed home with your children or you had to go out there and work. So to be around white people, the kids and stuff, and that was the other thing too. The kids played together. Again, it rose back to it was the adults acting not setting a good example. The kids played together. Say like if I was babysitting and the people went out somewhere and I was watching the kids, what the kids had, I had. So it wasn't the children, it was the adults. And then that rolls over and from generation to generation and stuff. So they were just setting a bad example. I spent many years, I just retired on last Saturday from the Virginia State Guard. And I did 9 plus a little bit over the Army Reserve. And one of the things that I learned is, as you move up the ladder, is that you have to set an example. If you go out there and act a fool, your troops going to go up there and act a fool because they think that that's acceptable. It's not. And luckily, I hadn't planned on it, but luckily I worked my way up to the battalion command sergeant major, and I knew that I had to watch what I do. You have to watch what you say. You have to watch how you act, because even if they're way back in the back, somebody's watching you. You do it, they think that they can do it. So, excuse me. So I guess I took military into my household, and it's still in there today with my grandchildren and stuff. But again, it's what you do. You got other people watching what you do and setting an example. And a lot of times what you feel like you want to do, you can't do it. Not right then and there anyway. Yeah. It wasn't really a career choice. I joined the Army Reserve in 1975. I was already working for DOD down, used to be the old AMC building down on Eisenhower Avenue. And so when I started working there, this was just basically right out of school. I'll never forget the day that I realized what my job was. My job was ordering body bags for the people coming back from Vietnam, and I just got sick on the stomach. Yeah, so that was my job, ordering thousands and thousands of black body bags. It's still a little bit sickening. But then, I was around a lot of military and stuff. My dad was in the military. My uncle was in the military. When my brother got out of high school, he also joined the military. So, and at that time, I was like, no females in the family joined the military. So let me go try it and see what happened. And I stayed in there for a little bit over 9 years. So then it came to the point of deciding whether I want to take care of my family or stay in the military. So I had my 2 little bad, beautiful babies. So now I'm like, see you. But then as years went on, I still keep in touch with a lot of those people today too. We have a reunion committee that we have a dinner dance every year. So, and we be looking and telling people, you know people, pull them in. So, we get together once a year with that reunion committee. But anyway, getting back. Then later on, and I actually was in my 50s, I saw a commercial on TV, well, a news story, to talk about boots on the ground. And I'm like, so that caught my attention because, the Army original, even though they got all these dances and stuff out now, saying boots on the ground, that came from the Army. That's where it came from. So I'm like, so I tried it out. I'm like, let me look into this. So I looked into it, and this is a coincidence. The Occoquan festival was going on, and they would. It was when I first went here. Yeah, Virginia Defense Force. Most states have a defense force, but all states don't. But from what I heard on the news today, everybody probably would end up getting, especially if they get rid of FEMA. So I went down there, I checked them out, and I swore in because I liked what I saw. What they were actually doing at the Occoquan Festival during that time was traffic control and security. So, and they were only doing it during the daytime. As time went on after I joined, we actually started doing it at night. At night, you didn't have to do traffic control, but you definitely had to do security. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. And so I went in June of 2008, and I just retired this past Saturday with the Occoquan festivals going, but I had to go to Richmond this time. It was exactly 17 years. So I can't take responsibility for that. The man upstairs planned that. He planned that. I probably would have stayed in a little bit longer, but health reasons, I figured it was time to get out. So I enjoyed it. We met lots of people, learned a lot of stuff, because, even though that was part-time, everybody got day jobs. Lawyers, doctors, nurses, all kinds of people. You meet all kinds of people, and you learn all kinds of things. And whatever you're doing, something that somebody's doing can fit in with what you're doing. Even though it's a military thing, what they're doing, it could always fit in. So from there, this is the first of my retirement. I work for Fairfax County Public Schools. I've been there exactly 17 years because, again, I joined the Virginia Defense Force in June, and then I got my job, and I'm still there, same office and everything, in August. So, again, 17 years. I'm stuck. It was a busy year. And so eventually I will retire from Fairfax County. I've done substituting. I've worked in the schools. I haven't worked in middle school, but I did work in elementary school and I did work in high schools. Then I've been in the administrative offices. Actually, I'm in the office, what we call the Office of Student Testing, where all these tests that the kids have to take. My office had to make sure that each person from the school that's administering the tests are trained. So that's a busy time, keeping up with the grades. And then there's the adult education. They have to keep up with that, and summer school also. So we got a little break right about now. But then when summer school start up and the testing starts, then it's going to start all over again. So that's coming soon, retirement from that, and then I'll probably do a little bit of traveling, and then I'm not going to do too much because I've been on the road a lot. I haven't been out of the country, but I've been on the road a lot, so no. Yeah, but other than that, I love my Alexandria. It's not the same that I grew up in, but it's here. Whenever I come down here, my kids and my grandkids know, and my son and my daughter want to know the history. So not only if I can come up with something new when we come through, other than that, I'm telling it to the grandkids now, or anybody that want to listen. I talk. They said when I was in school I was quiet. I have made up for it. I have made up for it. I've learned a lot from my cousin Cha. She's dug into the family history, and what she does is divide the history up by the grandparents. So like with my grandfather and stuff like that, because her grandmother and my grandfather are sisters and brothers. So when she does a part of the family history, she give it to whatever part of that family that it goes to and stuff. And so I've learned a lot from her, a lot. Yeah. So I think I've talked long enough. I would just say to just tell people, if you're from Alexandria or from anywhere, pass that history on. That's what they call that oral history. Because someday it might help someone. One of the things that I have done over the years, and I don't know why I started this, but I did, is keeping obituaries. I have right now about 3 big, thick books of obituaries. As no big deal. I just get them and put them in there. But people have come back to me asking me, especially my family, like some of my cousins and stuff, they were younger. They didn't, they were younger, they remember, but they didn't get obituaries, and they want to know who this is or want to know who that is. I don't know why my family thinks that I know everybody. Like I said, you interviewed my cousin Obi Lee and some of my other cousins and stuff like that. Well, do you know who such and such a person is? And I have to think for a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, that's such and such a person's child and stuff like that. So they have come in handy. But why I started it, it was just a thing that I did. And it's history. It's history, like my mom friends, even some that I forgot about. I had to go back and say, my grandmother, my cousins and aunts and great aunts and great great uncles and stuff like that. So that's about it. Pass that history on to your children, to your family. And I ain't gonna say that they're gonna say exactly what you said, maybe years from now, but at least they got an idea of what's what. I learned a lot from my grandfather. I know that he used to run. He didn't give me all of it, but I got some more information from other people that he used to run a store down in South Boston. He had a store up front. It was illegal stuff because back, one time liquor was illegal. So he was running his little business from the back, but he also had a store on the front. The last time, well, it's not the last time, the building was still there a few years ago, but I'm not sure if it's still there today. But I do know where it was, and but again, the family originally came from South Boston, Halifax area, and stuff like that. And there are lots of people in Alexandria, growing up, and even to this day, that are from the South Boston, Halifax area. They'll come up here and live and work and all of that, but then eventually they'll end up back down there. But it was interesting. Like I said, the one other thing that I wanted to say, and then I'm gonna stop. By me going, when we moved to the South Side, I met and got together with a whole different group of children. But originally, I was at Charles Houston. But by them integrating and making what we called a T.C. Williams. But now, what is it, Alexandria City School now? So my last year of school, everybody that I started the school with at Charles Houston, by them putting and making one high school, I graduated with those people, along with the people that I went to school with, like Lyles Crouch and the people that I met on the South Side too. So I got to graduate with all of them. And I really did appreciative of that, because like I said, I spent 5 years at Charles Houston. Then I left all of those people and went to the South Side. But to graduate with them back in 1972, it was great. It was great. But other than that, I'm shutting up for now. Shutting up for now.